So let us first take these questions that we have. Is there an easy way of something resolving, I guess, conflicting duties? Is there a hierarchy in duties? Example, attending lecture while not attending to your kids, or working full time versus studying the scriptures. Is there a hierarchy? This duty it can become quite tricky because a person is many things at the same time. A woman, for example, is a mother also, a wife also, an employee also, a professional also. And thus even a person performs variety of roles, and there are a variety of duties are there, and very often each one of these roles may be a demanding role, and it happens that demands of one role conflict with the demands of the other role. They said she is a professional person, she goes to work, at that time she cannot attend to her children naturally. So she is a wife, she is also a disciple. So she wants to go to lectures. At that time, maybe she cannot do justice to her household work. So these are typical. The students, the young people who ask us, Swamiji, how to strike a balance between family life and professional life? Because as young people graduate and they take up jobs, the work, sometimes their work is so demanding. They work for 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. They have to work for late in the evening, late at night. So Swami, what about the family? So thus, conflicting demands are there, and therefore it calls for a judicious choice or drawing the boundaries. We may not have the choice to give. Sometimes people exercise the choice. As you know, women, they give up work so that they can attend to their children. But the choice may not be there, and you may not want to exercise that choice. In that case, all we can say is draw boundaries. That yes, as mother, this is the minimum thing I should do. As wife, this is the minimum thing I should do. The professional, minimum thing I should do. And accordingly, yes, you will not be able to do any role perfectly because of the demands of other roles, but draw boundaries and remain within those boundaries. That okay, this much time I will give to my children. Quality time. I cannot give them quantity time. I give quality time to my family. I will give quality time to my employer, etc. So, what is hierarchy? Everybody has to decide in a given situation. There is no rule that this duty is superior to that duty, that come to class is superior to staying, working at home. We cannot say that. That depends upon a given situation. And it is a matter of planning. It's a matter of priorities. So everybody has priorities in life, and these priorities change as the time goes. At one point, perhaps, pleasure is a great priority. Then duty becomes a great priority. Then maybe study becomes a priority also. It depends upon your own inner calling, inner feeling. And depending upon what priority you find at that time, you have to rearrange or organize your other roles. So this can be a general answer, not a particular answer as to what to do in a given situation. All we can do is to remain as alert and as sincere as we can. That we do not get controlled by our impulses, but we let our sense of proportion decide what is an appropriate thing in a given situation. That's all we can say. Lord Krishna says, Yukta ahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. In ahara, vihara, karma, cheshta. Meaning, while eating food, while moving about, while doing all other activities, observe a moderation, sense of proportion, moderation, alertness. And that's how we will be the best judge to decide what priorities we should give, what is important. Depends on situation. Somebody falls sick at home, priorities change. Some kind of emergency at work, priorities change. Now your favorite Swami has come, priorities change. So that accordingly, we have to try to do justice as much as we can, but we have to accept that we cannot do justice to everything. We can do the best that we can and communicate. Very often there are things have to be communicated. I tell, for example, the young people, look, you communicate to your spouse, to your family, that your commitment, your professional commitment requires 12 hours of work a day. It requires, you have no choice. And therefore, this is all the time that you can give to your family. Communicate. They will understand your situation. So therefore, communicate with the family, communicate with all those you're involved with, and let them be aware of your situation so that they sympathetically understand you. It's not so much a problem not doing something. That also, there are two things. One is the guilt for failing to perform the duty. Other is the flack that we get from others. And so communication can help as to what are my limitations and why am I able to do only this much and not more, and create a sympathetic understanding in the people you are related to, so that you don't feel that you are hurting other people, or then you don't feel guilty that way. So that's the general thing we can say. Any further question on this? Is that answer satisfactory? Okay. You had said anger, frustration, jealousy, etc. are a manifestation of inner sadness. How do we detect this inner sadness and resolve it? Is there a need to resolve it? There is a need to resolve the inner sadness, because we don't like sadness. We want to be happy. We don't want to be unhappy or sad. Therefore, we have to resolve that sadness. And we may not even know what all kind of potential sadness is there. We know it when it manifests as frustration, anger, jealousy, etc. Then we know. So then we can do something. Suppose anger arises, so the Vedanta teaches or Yoga Shastra teaches a method of Pratipaksha Bhavana. What is Pratipaksha Bhavana? Deliberately taking the opposite position. So anger arises. I'm angry at somebody because I have taken a position. I look at this behavior of this person, and that makes, yet the way the person has acted with me, treated me, that makes me angry. Justifiable. What is Pratipaksha Bhavana? I deliberately take the opposite position. This person has been kind to me a number of times also, not always angry. So I make my mind see that, look, this is not the whole person. Right now the person is like that. On many occasions the person has been kind to me also. I make my mind see, then that impulse of anger may subside. No, Swami is never kind to me. Alright? Then we can make ourselves see, look, this person is not kind to me, but the person is kind to other people. To his child, to his spouse, to his friend, to his this. is kind. That means cruelty is not the whole person, kindness also is there. I make my mind deliberate, see the kindness in that person. Then the impulse of anger that has arisen because of seeing the cruelty will be diffused. And thus, what we can do about our inner sadness is that whenever sadness manifests as one of these impulses of jealousy, of anger, of frustration, then I resolve it by the opposite attitude. For jealousy, for example, that's a very common feeling. Jealousy comes to human beings have a problem with jealousy. Cows have no problem with jealousy. A cow giving 1 liter milk does not feel jealous of another cow giving 10 liter milk. It doesn't feel. It eats the same food, no problem. Jealousy is the problem of human being. Keeps on comparing myself. I want to be somebody else. That's my problem. Because I do not accept myself as I am, I want to be somebody else, and therefore jealousy arises from my not accepting myself. Understand? Somebody becomes instrumental in triggering that. He got a raise and I did not get a raise. Why should I be unhappy about that? Because he's getting raise and my not getting raise puts me back to myself that I'm no good. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not efficient enough, etc. And that's what pains me. So even though I'm jealous at that person, basically my pain comes from my own non-acceptance of myself. So jealousy requires that I accept myself as I am. He got a promotion, I did not, it's all right not to get promotion. Or other thing we can do about jealousy is to congratulate that person. How would I have felt if I was in that position? Share the person's happiness. Thus, for every negative feeling that arises in us, there is also a positive, proper feeling with which we can neutralize that. So this is our constant task, is to be observant of these impulses or emotions arising in our mind and constantly neutralizing them. That way we are neutralizing the potential of sadness. So whatever is inside also is getting neutralized. And therefore the unconscious becomes, the pressure becomes less and less and less. And thus we progressively become free from that sadness. Any further question?